let's start talking pucks, and let's throw 2 minutes and 30 seconds up on the clock. I couldn't find a costume big enough to fit this guy. So yeah, let's talk about the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are off to a scary start, and things got a little bit worse as their road trip out west ended with a thud. An overtime loss to the Anaheim Ducks, and with a team that was holding a 3-1 lead in the third period against statistically maybe the worst team in the league in the Ducks. And we're talking before the game about it being a character statement game, a chance to really right the ship. What'd you see from the Toronto Maple Leafs, and what's your level of concern with their start to this season?
Yeah, I've got a pretty big concern, and I didn't like last night's game at all in the way that the Maple Leafs managed the puck, the way they didn't close it out. You're up 3-1 against the Ducks, and I don't care if it's a back-to-back situation or not. When you've lost 3 straight games in a row, like the Toronto Maple Leafs had going into yesterday's game with Anaheim, and you have a lead like 3-1 going into third, and then you try to give it away. Like, it was 4-3 Anaheim until they had a goal called back. It was brutal. And I think that at this stage, Sheldon Keefe's just kind of pulling his hair out. He's tried everything. He's been the benevolent guy. He's been the tough guy. He's mismatched all the lines all around. I'm not sure where they go right now, Frank, because they're a little beat up. But, man, they don't have the drive to win these games. They don't have the mentality right now, it feels like. And their top lines aren't getting it done. Like Matthews, Tavares, they have 1 goal 5-on-5 this year combined between the two of them. That's not going to win the Maple Leafs hockey games. And then the elephant in the room is that Eric Shalgren hasn't won a game yet. Matt Murray hasn't when he played. The only goalie that's won's been Samsonov. And you look at the wraparound goal last night, man, like they're not getting the goaltending to win these tight games either.
Well, I was going to point that out and say Shalgren at this point, I think we've seen enough evidence to suggest that he's not ready to be an NHL goalie yet. He may be at some point in his career, but he's not there yet. And to hang your hat on him at this moment, as well as Samsonov has played, he can't carry the ball all season long. You're going to need to spell your guy. And you would have needed to be in a spot where you accounted for the idea of Matt Murray being injured at some point. We've already talked about that.
Yeah.
To me, it's way more of an eye test thing than a metrics thing for the Leafs. There's just been games when they look off. They look like they're listless. You know, you saw the game in Vegas. They even got too comfortable for a stretch in Anaheim after it sort of felt like they might have been turning the corner. Austin Matthews had a solid shift to start, then gets that power play goal, and you're thinking, okay, maybe this team's going to roll on here, and they're going to find a way to figure it out. But I think there's significant question marks about Sheldon Keefe and their staff moving forward, particularly after calling out Mitch Marner on the bench, pointing towards him during the game. That I think, you know, it certainly lends itself potentially to some friction, even though accountability may be in order.
Yeah, he benched him. He benched Marner. Like, there's no clearer message. And I mean, Frank, if Toronto goes back into Toronto, as Maple Leafs play on Wednesday night against Philly and they lose at home, can you imagine what could happen? There might be jerseys all over the ice, man. Like, it's going to be a fever pitch if they don't win that game.
Yeah, the temperature is already pretty high in Toronto, and it just feels like when you watch this team from top of the organization to the bottom, it feels a little bit like they're cracking under pressure, to think 10 games into the season in Anaheim in October, that probably shouldn't be the case. There shouldn't be that much pressure on that game.